Good morning. We're coming on the air with breaking news. We are just getting the first pictures. You're looking live right now of some of the 5 Americans who were just released from prison in Iran as part of a high-stakes prisoner swap with the U.S.
Yeah, look at these live pictures. What you're going to start to see is 3 of those 5 Americans joined by 2 family members who were also on board after they landed safely in Doha, Qatar, which helped to broker the deal between Iran and the U.S. The other 2 Americans are safe as well, but will still be inside the plane because they would like to remain private. All 5 Americans were released in exchange for 5 Iranian nationals who were detained here in the U.S., along with the Biden administration unfreezing $6 billion worth of Iranian funds. Let's get straight to Josh Letterman. He is on the ground at Doha International Airport. This is where this plane is, where these Americans have just landed. Josh, first, just tell us what you're seeing there on the ground right now.
Well, the plane has just touched down and finished taxiing to a stop here at Doha International Airport. You can see they've moved these stairs up to the plane. There are some Qatari officials who are gathering just inside the plane. We haven't seen the Americans descend yet, but any moment now they are expected to disembark from this plane that carried them roughly 2 hours from Tehran to here in Doha on their first step toward returning home safely. Once they're on the ground here, we expect them to be received by the Qatari delegation and then handed over to an American delegation that is waiting just off camera right now, including, I can see, Abram Paley, the deputy U.S. envoy for Iran, and other senior U.S. officials who have flown in here for this event, which is obviously a historic moment, not only for the Biden administration, but of course for these 5 Americans as well as their loved ones. Now, 3 of these Americans have been identified, and we know who they are. All had been convicted of espionage in Iran and served time in Evin prison. 2 of those Americans have not been publicly identified, but we expect that they will spend a short amount of time on the ground here in Doha undergoing medical checks, although they're all said to be in good health, and so that probably won't take very long before they are then able to board another aircraft that is expected to take them
here, Josh,
all the way to Washington.
We're seeing the 3 Americans right now. Is that right? They've just walked off the plane?
That's right. You can see just behind me, these are some of the Americans. They are hugging some of the U.S. officials who have gathered here. That is Abram Paley, the deputy Iran envoy, who's hugging one of the American detainees who has just come off the plane. And so this is really the moment that everyone has been waiting for, the moment they're able to take these Americans into their arms, knowing that they are now safely out of Iran and heading home. And so this is really going to be the first step in a long journey to recovery for them, Joe.
For many of these men, this has been a long time coming. They spent a good deal of time behind bars in Iran, right, Josh?
That's right. Siamak Namazi spent almost 8 years in prison on espionage charges. 2 of the other Americans who were detained there were arrested all the way back in 2018. So these were long detentions, almost all of it spent in Evin prison, a notorious detention facility in Iran, before just a few weeks ago they were moved into house arrest in anticipation of this deal coming to fruition. And so they have certainly undergone an enormous ordeal during their time in detention in Iran, and never knew whether they were going to actually see this day and get out safely. We hear from a senior administration official saying this was not a given. They did not know this was going to work, and in fact there were several stops and starts along this process that led them to believe they might not be able to get the Americans safely out of Iran. And so everybody very glad today that this was able to be successful, and they are now able to bring these Americans home.
And Josh, just again, so our viewers know exactly what it is that they're seeing, these are 3 of the Americans that had been detained also on board and who we are likely able to see, not in this camera shot right now, but in that group of people, was Siamak Namazi's mother, Effie, as well as Morad Tabaz's wife, Vida. And then there are these 2 other Americans who are freed who will not be seen because they would like their identity to remain private, but they are on that plane, will eventually be coming down. Tell us a little bit about that whole group that was on this plane right now.
Absolutely. So this was a bit of a surprise that we learned about today, that in addition to the 5 American detainees coming on this airplane were their 2 relatives, one wife and one the mother. And we learned that they had been in Iran, both of those women, and had been unable to leave the country. Now, that's different than the actual prisoners who were in a prison, but they were prevented from leaving Iran. And so this is a massive moment for them as well. We also are told by a senior diplomat here that the Qatari ambassador to Iran accompanied them on that plane to make sure they got here safely. And then there are those 2 Americans who do not want to be identified. They are said to be fairly traumatized by this whole experience. They will be disembarking separately in an attempt to try to protect their identity.
All right, Josh. Hard to imagine just that moment as they're stepping off the plane, the first time in years. They've walked off a plane into fresh air outside of Iran. They were definitely taking in that moment.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.